I've been growing tomato seedlings for over 40 years, and I fine-tuned it into a simple method that is foolproof. Now, I know there's lots of videos online that show you all kinds of tricks on how to do this, but it's actually really simple if you follow a few simple steps. And I use the same method for all my seeds, all the vegetables, perennials, annuals, trees, shrubs. I've grown plants from over 2,000 different kinds of seeds, and I use the same method for everything. This doesn't have to be difficult. I think that's a pretty good tomato seedling. I started it just over a month ago. It's a good sized plant. And I love the smell of tomato seedling. In this program, I'm going to walk you through my process step by step, tell you exactly what to do, and then you can follow it and grow anything you want. My method works for any kind of plant, but since most of you grow tomatoes, I'm going to use them as the example. Now, if you'd like to learn how to grow tomatoes really well, why don't you get a copy of my free ebook, Growing Great Tomatoes? 75 pages. It's free from my website, and I'll put a link in the description. It'll tell you everything you know from starting from seeds to harvest, what to do when plants get bigger, should you prune them, should you fertilize them, how should you harvest the tomatoes. I'll even tell you whether or not they ripen well in the kitchen. Now back to starting seeds. As many of you know, I love the baggie method. I took the basic method and improved that and call it my improved baggie method. It's one of my oldest videos, and it's still one of my top ones. So I'll put a link to that at the end of this video and in the description. I start all my vegetable seeds in baggies. In fact, the only thing I don't do in baggies is really tiny seed like Streptocarpus, because that seed is so fine you can hardly see it. But large seed like tomato seeds, I do those in baggies. It took 5 to 7 days for the seeds to germinate, and once I could see a small root coming out of the seeds, I picked up each seed with tweezers and planted it. I plant them about a 1/4 inch deep. Because they've already germinated, the depth isn't that critical. The soil I use is Promix, and I've used that for many years. It works just fine. Most other potting mixes work just as well. And I never use seedling mixes. I don't see the point. Regular potting mix works just fine. I water that in, and then I wait for the shoot to show above ground. Even before that shoot shows, I put them under light. I want the seedling to know where the light is, and as soon as they come up, I want them to get a good level of light. This year I've been using a new LED light, the MetriGrow 100 watt, and I did a video on that, show you what the light is like, and it's working really well. Now, any of the higher end LED lights will work just as well. What doesn't work is the lower end budget lights, and I made a program on that as well. The budget lights just don't have enough light to grow good seedlings. Just keep an eye on your plants. As soon as the surface of the soil starts to dry out, I water. And what do I use for watering? Well, I use my tap water plus fertilizer. Even before I see the shoot above the soil level, I start fertilizing. My water has fertilizer in it, and I use the same mix for everything. All my house plants, my Streptocarpus, whatever types of seeds I'm trying to germinate, they all get fertilized as soon as they're in the soil. Now, what do I use for fertilizer? It's not really that important what you use, as long as the NPK ratio is correct. That ratio should be a 3:1:2. It should be a soluble synthetic fertilizer, and it should have the micronutrient. Now, right now I'm using this product here. It's a Miracle-Gro product. Now, why don't I use organic fertilizer? Well, here's the problem. Organic fertilizer doesn't release very many nutrients. It takes weeks, months, and even years for organic material to decompose and release the nutrients. My poor seedlings need to be fed right now. They can't wait until the organic material decomposes. Now, organic is great in the garden where you're trying to build soil, but not in pot. Use a synthetic product. That's what it's made for. As soon as I mix it up and pour it on the pots, they got nutrients. Another thing that I think is really important is to start off with some decent pots. So many of the videos I see out there use tiny little cells, tiny little pots, or these multi-cell trays. Those things are pretty useless. You put the seed in there and the roots start to grow, and that's fine. It's a good way to start them, but in no time at all they're too large and they need a bigger pot, and you have to transplant them. Now in my next video, I'm going to show you the damage that transplanting actually does. So what I do is I start them in big pot, and now I don't have to transplant them. I get bigger plants, healthier plants by doing it this way. Now you can start in the small cells and you save yourself some space, but before they can go outside, they have to be transplanted anyway. So you might as well start in the big pot. And what do I use? I just recycle the things I've had from past years. These are plastic pots, they're good quality. At one point I bought something in them and I just reuse them over and over and over again, and these things are probably 10 years old. They never get washed. I just dump them out and use them again next year. So let's look at the history of these plants. The seed was started around May 15th. Took 5 to 7 days to germinate. As soon as each seed germinated, I potted it up. I generally put in just one seed per pot. Because I know the seed germinated, I don't have to put in two. I know I've got a plant that will grow. Around April 15th, they started forming their true leaves, and it's now almost the end of April, and I've got good sized plants. Don't start them too early inside. I've done that in the past. I wanted to cheat nature, so I started them a month early, and I had big plants by the time they were ready to grow outside. Now I had a sunroom, so they got lots of light out there. I had good sized plants. And what happened? Well, I got fruit maybe 3-4 days earlier, but it was a lot of work and I didn't really gain very much. Tomatoes really won't produce well until our temperatures get warm enough. There is an advantage for starting them indoors, but don't start them too early. You really don't gain much. Now, once you have the tiny little seedlings, it's a good idea to put a fan on them. Now, some people use a fan because they think they're going to make the plant stronger. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, but maybe a little bit. The main reason for using the fan is to make sure that damping off doesn't hit your seedling. But that's only the problem for the first week or so. Once true leaves start, I've never had damping off hit my seedlings. And to be quite honest with you, over 40 years, I rarely have damping off. I think the reason is that I don't keep them too wet. I let the surface dry out, even as tiny seedlings. That surface needs to dry out a bit. When the surface of the soil gets dry, it forces the plant to make deeper roots down to where there's water. And so I probably water less than most people. Because of that, the surface of the soil isn't very moist. And because of that, I don't get damping off. But to be on the safe side, a fan for a week or two is a good idea. So what are these? Well, these are mostly Sweet 100s, which is my all-time favorite tomato. I've been growing it for over 40 years. And the other half are the new GMO purple tomato. I grew it last year. It's a really great tomato. Very flavorful, a little different than the Sweet 100s. And so this year I'm going to grow these side by side and compare them to see how well they do. But the purples did really well last year on their own. Now, because the purple seed is quite rare still, and I have a lot of friends who want them, what I actually did was I put 2 seeds in each pot. Once they were growing and the true leaf was showing, I took one of those seedlings out and put it in its separate pot. I want as many of those plants as I can get because I'm going to have no problem giving these to friends this year. Normally I wouldn't do that. What I normally do is just put 1 per pot, or if I happen to have extra seeds that germinated, I might put 2 in the pot and then I just cut one off. I don't want these things competing with each other. And that's another point here. You can see that because they're in big pots, the plants are actually fairly well separated from each other. Now, on the other hand, what a lot of other people do is they use these cell packs. And now those seedlings are really close together and they're fighting for light. Now, those cell packs are great in a greenhouse where you have lots and lots of light. But I know many of you have very low light systems in the basement. You want to give those plants as much light as possible, which means you need to separate the plants out so the light can get to all of the leaves. It's another reason why I don't like those small cell packs. The plants are just too crowded, too close together. So that's my method. There is no real secrets to it. Germinate in the baggies, put them in a good potting media like ProMix, use larger pots, give them really good light, and fertilize. I don't know how many people I talk to that don't fertilize their seedling. Big mistake. Now, I've mentioned a number of videos in this program. I'm going to put links to all of those in the description, so have a look there. And to make it a little easier for you, I put some videos right here with links. Have a great growing season. Happy gardening.